Well. Got back to my chair just in time. Here we are, live today to chat about the Vodacom July with Kevin Shea. And for those of you that don't know, Kevin Shea has won the Vodacom July twice. He's ridden in it a number of times, and he'll give us some stories about the July and some of his take on what has got a chance in the field and what hasn't. So let's just chat about the news, the local news, before he joins us. Firstly, I said that Gold Circle had formed a committee to look into the affairs of Gold Circle, or certainly as the 200 million rand. And I had said Gary Grant's brother on the show, and I apologize, that was a mistake. I had heard it third hand, and I hadn't picked up the stompy correctly. But it was Chris Haynes's brother. Well, they're partners in equine. Gary and Chris were partners in equine, and Chris Haynes's brother was in charge of certainly helping with investigation, 200 million rand investment at the beginning of the investment. And I'm not sure that Gary wasn't steward at Gold Circle, but not sure about it. Hello, Vivek and Saeed. Nice to have you with us this afternoon. And this should be fun because Kevin Shea, as you know, he don't pull any punches, Kev, and we're not going to pull any punches either. So let's chat about what's been happening in the week, in the racing in the week, and Saratoga Spa. Now, those of you that don't know Saratoga is an institution, and normally in August, but I think it's been set forward a little bit. Hello, Paresh. Nice to have you on the show. And you'll be able to ask Kevin at the end, or certainly type in some questions to him if there's any questions to Kevin, to find out anything he can tell you. But just talking about Saratoga, they opened yesterday with the first day of the SPA meeting. And remember, they're behind closed doors the same way as we are. But because of the unbelievable television coverage, they were up 21% in turnover. And remember, they have totes in America, only off-course betting turnovers. They were up 21% on last year, which just shows you with no crowd, they certainly did a fantastic job. Paresh, give us a double for tomorrow. Good idea. Tell Paresh to get busy. The other big news tomorrow is Enable. She's running in the King George Queen Elizabeth. Frankie's riding her against 3 O'Brien champions coming to the party to come and take them on, see what they can do. That should be well worth watching. Probably 5 o'clock it will be on after we get home from the Vodacom July, because I think it's an early finish. I'm sure that the last race is about 10 to 5. They're trying to get us finished the 10-race program in order to beat the curfew and get everyone home. I saw in the Punters Challenge the picks plenty winners. Yeah, Vivek, we've been finding them. I mean, yesterday, if you listen to the show, hello, Nikki, how are you? Nice to have you with us, and great to have you here. This has got to be Katie Shea, so let's say hello to him. Kevin Shea.
Goody.
Hello, Kev. I hope everyone can hear you. We've done a run and a test to make sure that you're on loudspeaker and ready to go. How's it going?
No, everything's 100%, and I hope they can hear me.
Yeah.
And let's hope things happen tomorrow for our first Vodacom July behind closed doors.
Well, you're not working because I was going to get you to work at the Wild Coast. So I thought I'll get you to work this afternoon and go through the field. And we got you loud and clear. So great. Yeah, but Kev, let's set the scene first. You know, the highlights have got to be of your career, the 2 July winners that you rode, and both under incredible circumstances. Chat us through them.
Yeah, James, I must say, I think every jockey's dream, I think in South Africa, is to win the July, and especially if you're a Durban boy, because I mean everybody talks about the July, and everybody still is talking about the July and carrying on about it now, even though it's behind closed doors. It's a big race, and it's fantastic. And I was lucky enough to have ridden Ipi Tombi in 2002, very, very, very good filly, as you all know. And she came in from a bad draw 15 and came from a long way behind and ran them out of it and won a very good race. I thought it was very good. And my next July winner was exactly 6 years later, 2008. and I was sitting in Mark de Kock's place in London, and Mark said to me, "What do you think will win the July?" I said, "If I had a choice, I'd love to ride Dancer's Daughter." And believe it or not, within the next 45 minutes, Justin State phoned me and asked me if I want to come out and ride. And I said, "Only a pleasure." And I said to Mark, "What do you think?" So he said to me, "Well, you said it's a good ride. Come, let's go. We've been in Dubai for 3.5 months. We've done a month and a half in England. Let's shoot back for the July. I need to go and sort out a couple of things, and let's see what we can do." And in the result, boom, I ended up dead eating with Pocket Power. So I was very lucky. 1 3-year-old filly, 1 4-year-old filly, both fillies, and yeah, Justin Slate's first July and Mark de Kock's first July, and my first July was my first one as well. So it was all a first all round. It's fantastic, and I'm very happy to have it on my CV.
Okay, tell me about your first ride in the July. Do you remember that?
Yeah, my first ride in the July was a filly for Mr. Buller Benton. Her name was Frisky.
In Cyril Hurwitz's colours.
Yes, she was a very, very, very good filly, a very hot filly as well. And that was my first ride. And believe it or not, I wasn't allowed to parade her and canter down to the start. I had to go straight onto the course, canter her straight down. I cantered her to the 800-metre mark. Then I had to trot her all the way around because she wouldn't go the other way around. So it was a little bit of an anti-climax for my first July ride. But she was good to me because after that, I don't know if it was after or before, we had her in the Holiday Inns. And our first emergency acceptor was Have a Fling, and we worked the two together. And he was definitely better than her. So they scratched Frisky from the Holiday Inns, and they ran Have a Fling, and that was my 3rd or 4th year in my apprenticeship, and he won. So that was also another one for the record books.
You've been an incredibly successful jockey, and you've ridden all over the world. I know that Johnny Murtaugh's not on your favourite mailing list because of the Arlington Million.
Johnny
Murder, yeah. But how does the July compare to these races like the Dubai World Cup? And as you've ridden in the Breeders' Cup, I think you rode Eagle Way there. How does this compare?
Yeah. I must be honest, James. I found overseas racing a lot more cleaner, even though they are the big races, a lot tighter. There's normally always a good pace in these races. If there's no pace, so normally one of the trainers with a fancy horse will have a pacemaker in the race. So there's always virtually pace in the race in these big races, especially in the World Cup and those races like that.
That's overseas, yeah.
Overseas, yeah. I'm talking about overseas. You found the guys were a lot tighter but cleaner. I found that July seems to be the guys who seems to go a little bit blank, and it's all for yourself, and you don't really think of anybody else in the race, which I think is very wrong because everybody's lives are at risk. So a little bit of rough race the July. I've had some very rough Julys, and but if you compare them to overseas, I find the overseas racing definitely a higher class horse, more pace in the race, and a little bit tighter, but no argy-pargy or anything. If you're stuck on the fence like I was in the Arlington Million, they're not going to let you out. You've got to try and force your way out. That's the only way the argy-bargy starts. But other than that, they just keep their position and they keep you right where they are. And I can tell you quite a few races I was kept on the fence or one off the fence or in a pocket, and you just can't get out. You've got to wait and you come back and tell the hard luck story.
Yeah, well, that's because they don't have false rails. But even with the false rail, we have the same type of problems. Although,
exactly.
And it's mainly because jockeys are not patient enough. Don't you find that if you sat a little longer just waiting for things to happen in the straight, you end up getting it right rather than trying to force things to happen, which seems to happen a lot today with certainly the jockeys that we have today. I don't believe they're anywhere near as good as guys like yourself and Mason, Basil, and all those guys before.
Yeah, I agree with you, James. I have found, we all know ourselves, you and I know, when they put in the polytrack that they actually extended. Well, they didn't extend the straight, but racing even wider, they put an extra 50 to 60 meters on that gravel straight. And you still see guys, still to this day, going just before you're turning for home. And if you think about it, that's really about 500 meters out. I know it doesn't sound a lot, but for South African racing, it is going quite early. Overseas racing in England, those guys can go 6-7 furlongs out. They can start going and getting onto those horses. But it's a different kind of horse. But you hit the nail on the head. I do find a lot of guys going a little bit early, at Greyville when you can have a little bit of patience and wait. And sometimes they find themselves trying to get out and go early, find themselves in trouble. And that's what you don't want to do. That's the crucial stage of the race. You want to make sure you come into the straight nice and crisp. You've got your horse nice and balanced. He's used his off fore leg coming around the corner, which is his front right leg. You would like him to change his legs to his left leg, which will bring him out a little bit, and then try and get a kick out of the horse like that. And that's what I seem to find worked very, very well at Greyville.
Has anyone asked you your opinion of how they should ride the July this year?
No, funny enough, nobody. But I haven't really. I haven't been to Summerveld with the COVID. I should have actually gone this week because it has opened up for the public. But I mean, it was getting to Summerveld was a headache. You had to have certificates, and I've spoken to quite a few of the guys that went up there. They were pulled over daily at the Barryhill Toll Plaza. And it was a headache. And then getting to Summerveld, I'd have to get out the car. I can't go into the stables and anything. It became a little bit of a headache. So I haven't been up. And I've been speaking to the boys at the races and speaking to them on the phone and that. But other than that, no, nobody's really asked me anything, no.
Okay, well, we couldn't get a better analyst than you because firstly, you know everything about the race. And secondly, you're a very good form reader and a very good analyst. And what I'd like to do with you, Kev, is go through each horse and give me a synopsis of how you think the horse should be ridden and what you think the horse's strengths and weaknesses are. And let's start with number one. Well, we got this system now where the horse is its barrier position. That's its number, and we're trying to get away from that. Are you in favor of that, or would you like to get away from it?
Yeah, listen, it's all an American thing. Number one, drawn one, and that. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing for us because we are used to having the horses. Number one is normally the top weight, and say if there's 10 horses in the race, number 10 is the bottom weight. So that's how we used to look at it. Now, if the top weight's drawn 10 out of 10, he's at the bottom, and you've got to actually look at the weights. And it is a little bit confusing. It does make studying a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I think the old way is it's proven and tested. But this is the American way, and we're going through. I heard it was only a trial period. Let's see after the season if it carries on.
Okay, well, yeah, what happens with the American racing, as I explained to Devin Heffer, is that they mainly have sort of set weights races, allowance races, and that type of thing, where they don't have handicaps. All we have is handicaps, which makes it very difficult.
Very, very difficult. Yeah, the handicaps does. Yeah. Anyway, so but we'll go to number one, Golden Duquette. Eric Sands, there's no doubt about it. He's told us he's a nice horse. If he's ready for it, I don't know. I think the drawn one might be against him a little bit. You know, you've got to be very aggressive from drawn 1, 2, 3, even 1, 2, maybe 5 or 6. You've got to be very aggressive out the gates. You've got to be able to hold your position. And on his outside is Rainbow Bridge. So if I was really Donovan Dillon, because he's riding Golden Duquette now, I would ride my horse around Rainbow Bridge because I think Rainbow Bridge would be in front of me. It would be a lovely, lovely horse to get him behind. Warren Kennedy, a top rider. You'll be able to judge it. I think there is going to be a little bit of pace in the race. So I don't think Rainbow Bridge will be in front. But speaking to a couple of the bookmakers, and that they are standing Rainbow Bridge for a lot of money. There is a lot of money on Rainbow Bridge. And he is the horse I think they all have to beat. But like a few of the guys said, in some of these big races, he just, the 2000 and the 2-2, he just always seems to find one to come and grab him late. So I think Warren is he's the right boy on his back. He's got to just give him a little bit of a chance. I wouldn't want to be sending him early, especially with the 60 kilos, although he's only got to give 7 kilos, I think, to Bulgarian. Well, he's giving it to Golden Duquette as well. Bulgarian is a 4-year-old. That's most probably the only difference. You've got the 60 kilos. You've got to just hold him up a little bit, but you've got to be careful too. You don't want to get caught flat-footed as well. But I think Warren's the right guy. He knows the horse. I think he gave it a top ride last time. I wouldn't like to see him in front, personally myself. I'd like to see him third, fourth, one off the fence, or even on the fence. It'll force Warren to actually have to sit until he turns for home, because the guys are not going to let him out on the outside.
Okay, well, let's talk about as they turn for home, because you find that I think number 4, Padre Pio, might go to the front in the race. So we can talk about him while we talk about as they turn for home. you might find that they start quickening up when they turn for home, which means Rainbow Bridge has got to hold his position and got to stay there if he's sitting third or fourth. That's not going to be in his favor, I wouldn't have thought.
No, 100%. But yeah, number 3, Padre Pier, looks like he could be the front runner. He's having a maiden rider in the July, which is Atandiba and Bula. So it's all going to be a little bit googie-eyed for Atandiba, but no crowd. So it's the crowds that normally get the guys' attention when you walk onto the parade and that. But yeah, Padre Pio will be up there. Rainbow Bridge should be 2 or 3 lengths behind them. I would be shocked to see if Padre Pio goes to the front. Well, I mean, if Padre Pio is in front and wins, I'd be really, really shocked. That means I've got to give full credit to the jockeys. Really ridden a race like Vardy Alicia rode on a colt when he beat the odds-on favourite that day of Mr. Millard. So, yeah, I don't think he's good enough to stay there, but he is the right horse. He will be staying on. He's got 53 kilos, and he's going to get that 7 kilos, which is a stone from the big horses, Rainbow Bridge, Vardy, etc., and so forth.
Myabi Gold ran 5th last year, ran on really well. She seemed to lose her position early in the race and come from way behind them. But she's drawn exactly the same, funny enough, this year. She was drawn 4 last year. She's drawn 4 again this year. Good rider on her.
Very good rider, Keegan de Mello. I actually chatted to Keegan last week, and I said to him, well, just before the gallops, I said, what are you going to ride in the July? So I said to him, he said, Myabi Gold. I said, okay, well, that's not bad. At least you're going to have to wait another year to win the July. He said to me, you listen to me, Kevin. This filly will be right on top of them. So I said, well, this mare will be right on top of them. So I said, okay, well, I'm happy for you. I personally don't know. I don't know if it's good enough. I think Justin Smith, if this one won, I don't think he wouldn't be shocked. He wouldn't be surprised. He doesn't mind if anyone of them win, but I would be shocked if Myabi Gold won.
Would she be a horse you'd put into your quartet? Might be a nice place horse, you know.
Yeah, I would put it in. I would put it in 3rd, 4th, back into your quartets. And well, listen, if it wins, you'd like it in the first in your quartet, because that'll really make it pay big money. But Justin Staith, Keegan de Mello, 52 kilos, drawn 4, as you said last time, found itself a little bit hustled and bustled last time, and had to drop out of it and ran on. Drawn 4, Keegan's going to have to try and keep his position, because that first 600 meters in the July, the outside guys want to get in, and the inside guys, they don't want to get out, but they want to just keep off the fence, just in case there's a bit of squeezing, you've got a bit of gap on your inside, on your right-hand side. And he's going to have to keep his spot. It's going to be interesting. But then again, you keep your spot and you hold your spot for too long in a race like this, and they're going maybe a little bit too fast, then it doesn't suit you as well. So Keegan's really going to have to play it by ear, exactly how the race unfolds in front of him.
Well, it looks like it might be perfect for him, because the way I would see it is that you've got Padre Pier probably make it, and Rainbow Bridge will slot in sort of 3rd or 4th, maybe 3 or 4 lengths back, and he could just slot in behind Rainbow Bridge, you know, and sit there on the paint and just wait his turn.
That's it. That's what he's got to do. He's got to just sit there, hold his own, and just wait. Let them go. And James, you said a little bit earlier that the horses, just before you swinging for them, they're starting to quicken. Now, the July, it's a funny thing, the July, the jocks seem to fall into this trap year in and year out. At about the 800, you get 1 or 2 guys starting to make a little bit of a movement, and they start going, and the rest of the guys just go with them as well. And for me, it's a little bit too early. You don't want to. You want to sit. Let them go. Let them go. You start going at the 800, 700, 600 at Gravel Racecourse, you surely got to come back to it, especially if they're going a half-decent gallop. But if they're cantering, then you'll get the guys like Anton Marcus, the experienced riders. They'll be waiting. If they're 3-4 lengths behind them, they can see at the 800, listen, this is going to turn into a sprint. Our horses are all big striking horses. Let's start getting going now. That's a different ball game altogether. So that we can't tell now. We can only tell during the running of the race.
What's your gut feeling? Do you think there'll be a reasonable pace, a good pace?
I think there'll be a reasonable pace. There'll definitely be a pace up until the mile for the first 600 meters. And then by the mile, when they start going behind the drill and down the hill, like at the guys get a position, and they'll still be sitting. But you've got to be careful of horses like Padre Pier, and then if they go to the front and they start easing back, there's going to be a lot of interference, which there always is, like Australia as well, because they go slow and they race tight, or they will be tight in the July. And if they do start slowing up, there's going to be a lot of interference. So you've got to just be careful. The guys in front don't pull it up. When I say pull it up, pull it back, come back to your field, go a little bit slowly. You'd like to do your 23 seconds of furlong and around the back there. And if they're going 26 seconds of furlong, you're going to get guys like Marcus and these Keegan DeMello. They're going to be right up and they're going to be in the vanguard or in front. They're going to start moving it on. So they're going to be looking for a little bit of a pace. I think there'll be a little bit of pace. There'll be a little bit of an ease up, I think, from the mile to the 14, maybe into the 12. And then you'll see the jocks, the tactics will start playing in. If there's still a good pace by then, you can just sit there and just relax and wait your turn. If they're going slow, you've got to start thinking, now, can I get out? Must I get around? Will the horse in front of me that I'm following get me to the straight? Just in case you get caught behind a horse, won't get you to the straight. There's all little things like that will come into account as well. So, yeah, it's a tactical race. You've all in your mind worked out every possible way. If there's a strong pace, a slow pace, if you're drawn wide, if you've worked out a million things, but till those gates open, you never know. Stranger things have happened in this game.
Okay, let's move on to Mike the Cox runner, Socrat. And certainly the second string to his bow, because Hawam would have been the right horse here. It looks like he's got a lot going for him, this horse. I don't think he's a bad horse.
I don't think he's a bad horse at all. And Mark's been very honest. He told you this is his last run now. He's going to stud after this, which is fantastic because, as you know, he is very, very well bred. And I'm sure Mark will have no stone unturned for the race. He said his preparation has been perfect. There's nothing wrong with his form. I mean, he's last done 3.5 lengths behind Hawam. Hawam won by 3.5 lengths. So that his run before that, he was 5 lengths behind Hawam. His Cape Town run wasn't his best run. He didn't really enjoy it, as Mark said as well too. But yeah, he's a horse. He's got a big weight, 59. He deserves it. He deserves to carry it. He's got Callum Murray, a good rider. He's drawn 5. Mark's horses are fit. I wouldn't leave this horse out my quartet. Definitely, you leave Mark the Cock out the big races at your peril. I think he's definitely got a chance. The 2-2 looks fine. It's not a.
How would you ride him, Kev?
As the Summer Cup. If I was riding him, I'd be just behind him. I'd like to keep a Rainbow Bridge in my eyes. I wouldn't let Rainbow Bridge get too far away from me. He's drawn 2. I'm drawn 5. So I've got him in my eye. Myabi Gold. You've got Padre Pier that should go forward. So all of a sudden now brings you into quite a nice spot. One off the fence with the horse in front of you, 3-4 lengths behind him, and I would sit and wait until well into the straight. If they've turned in, they've straightened up, they've spread across the track, find your spot, and then let him out. He's not a horse, I think, that he's a one-pace horse. I think he's got a nice turn of foot, and I think he can do something like it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this horse comes out and wins. Not at all.
Okay, let's move on to Twist of Fate, the first one of Adam Marcus's runners. I see they've put the blinkers on him. Now, he has run before in the blinkers. They haven't seemed to have made that much difference. Is that a knee-jerk reaction because he has been getting beaten?
Yeah, I think, and also too, they want to maybe if there is no pace, I think Twist of Fate would like to be up there too. He races up there too. He's got very good form. The blinkers. He's done nothing wrong, this horse, James. He's really been an absolute soldier. I mean, you think he's a 20,000 rand purchase. He's earned millions in stakes. He's been an absolute soldier. He's run against the best. He's run against Rainbow Bridge. He's run against Hawam. He's run against Vardy. He's run against One World. I mean, he's run against the best. Is it maybe just at the end of his 4-year-old? He's had a hard campaign. A lot of guys say maybe give him another chance. He was close up last time. He was a very good run last time behind Rainbow Bridge. And yeah, I don't know. Out of the 2, if I had a choice of Anton's horses, of Adam's horses, I definitely would like to ride Vardy. He looks like he's a very, very nice horse. Okay,
we move on to Shango. Sean's got 2 dark horses in the race now. Shango is an interesting horse. He's by a sprinting stallion out of a Jetmaster mare. He's had the 2 warm-ups. He looks well held by Got the Green Light.
That's what he does look well held by Got the Green Light, definitely. 3-year-old this year, I think the 3-year-olds this year are going to have to step it up a bit, I think. But they got a little bit of weight advantage, as you say, 53 kilos. They're getting a stone from the big horses, which is 7 kilos. So that brings them into the race. Is he good enough? I don't know. There's a bit of talk about him. He's got Lyle Hewitson. I don't know. He's not one of my first 4. So I'm gonna pass him by. I know Sean Terry on the big days he comes to the party. Lyle Hewitson, I mean, he's a top rider. How can you leave him out? Listen, if I have to start fencing all my horses, I'm going to have like 9 horses in the race. So I have to draw a line somewhere. Nothing against Lyle, nothing against Shango, and nothing against Sean Terry. But for me, I'm going to pass him by.
Okay, Capoeira, who won a very good race last time, beating the hot shot, and Tristan Godden, I think it's probably his first ride in the July as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one with 53 kilo. The question you're going to ask yourself, if he never won last time, would he be in the July? That was $1 million question. Personally, myself, I don't think he would have, because that's a free ticket to get into the July, the race he won. When you look at his form, 4 lengths behind Born to Perform, Bulgarian 24, when you go back 9 lengths behind the Warm, for me, not good enough. Sorry. I have to say it. I don't think he's good enough to win a July.
I think Keegan de Mello was offered the ride and took the other one, didn't he? Took Myabi Gold.
I'm open to correction. I would hate to say yes, and I'd hate to say no, but I don't want to upset anybody. For me, I don't think good enough to win the July.
Kev, you and I have spent our life upsetting everybody. Okay, let's move on to Vardy and let's move on to Vardy and see if this team can get it right. I know that they really thought they couldn't lose the Met, and he ran a very ordinary race in the Met. And my question mark about this horse is, does he get the trip?
That's the $1 billion question. Does he get the trip? Even the trainer and even Craig Zaki, they're going to have to ride him with a bit of luck. And I think he's got a nice draw 9. This is a perfect horse. I wish I was riding this horse. I'd be midfield. There's only 18 runners. Midfield, you'd be 5, 6, maybe 7 lengths behind him. He's got the 60 kilos on. Save him a little bit. He's got that turn of foot. They'll do exactly what Craig done to him last time. Bring him out. Pull him out. Give him a nice clear run. And he'll be getting going. He'll be running at them. And like you say, I think it's all about in the early stages of the race. Can you save this horse? If the pace is a little bit sedate, they'll be playing into his hands. As you said as well, I thought he would win the Met, and he ran really below par. That was his worst run to date, I think. Looking at Vardy, but he's done nothing wrong other than that. He's a great miler. He's a great 1800 meter horse. He could even maybe get the 2000. The 2-2 at Gravel shouldn't be a problem. But does he stay? Let's see. Craig must make him stay. Dancer's daughter never stayed. I made her stay. I dropped her out and saved her. And he's got the turn of foot. He can run them all out of it. You got to sit and wait. I think sit and wait. Yeah. A lovely horse to ride if you've got patience.
Well, that seems to be the key as far as the 4-year-old and the 3-year-old concerned. But Divine Odyssey, does he look like a hopeful?
Not for me. I don't think he's run beyond Zilzel, and he hasn't run beyond one of these big horses that are running this race. He hasn't taken on the big guns. So I think he's thrown a little bit in the deep end. But listen, you got a ticket, you got a chance. You never know. 53 kilos, as I said, he's getting a stone from the big horses. He needs it, so it's in his favor. Not for me, thanks.
Okay, Terra del Fuego. Now, this is a horse I think might be a player in this race. Gavin Larena gets a ride, and he's ridden him his last twice, and he's run close up to a warm. What do you make of him?
He's another horse. Does he stay? Does he see the trip? So it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, if they make this the July good gallop, these horses that are umming and ahhing and battling to maybe the trip's a little bit doubtful, they're going to be looking for oxygen early out. I do agree it could be a player, as you say, Gavin Larena, top rider, Sean Terry. He's run behind the Warms. His last 2 starts have been nothing wrong with it. 3 lengths and 5 lengths behind the Warm. So that puts him in virtually in the same boat as Sukrat, just behind the Warm. For me, I think Sukrat definitely should finish in front of this horse, although this horse is going to have to, he's going to get 4 kilos from Sukrat. So does he stay?
That makes a difference. That's where I throw this horse into all my play, is that he's met these horses, got beaten 3.5, 3 lengths, 2, within 2 and 4 lengths of the best around. And he's now getting 4 kilos from them and 5 kilos from them. That's got to make a difference to a horse like this, especially a horse that's had he seems to have had a very quiet prep, looking like this is the right race for him.
No, 100%. But the question mark is, does he stay? That's who I do. But like you say, now he's getting 4 kilos. That puts him straight in the play. listen, Gavin Lorena, he knows what he's doing. Gavin, very talented. Sean knows he'll be fit, he'll be ready. If he's not going to see out the trip, then he's never going to see out the trip, because I think Sean will have him top spot on for tomorrow's big one.
It's my turn. You know the Canama team. You're very friendly with them. What do you make of him?
I wouldn't back him here, but I'll tell you what now, I'd start taking my doubles now. If he would take it into the Gold Cup, I think he's the right horse for the Gold Cup. He didn't have a very, very hard run. I spoke to Sean Veal after the race, and he said to me, this horse hadn't run for a while. They ran him in quite heavy going. It was in Marisburg after they cancelled the races, the Oaks, after the 5th or 6th race. He ran up to them, and he ran out a little bit of puff. Definitely has improved. Sean said he definitely hasn't improved, but his plan with this horse is the Gold Cup. So I'm not saying he can't win. I think he'll have to bring up his A game to win. But I think drawn 12, 53 kilos on his back. Sean's going to sit him back 3/4 of the way back. Hold him up now, see, give him a last clear run and see him running on. He should be running on strongly with him. But for me, he's the horse, the Gold Cup. That's the right horse for him. And that's only in 3 weeks' time, or nearly a month's time. So he'll have this run. I don't know if Dean's going to run him again. He might gallop him again, but definitely a horse. I'll be looking at the Gold Cup with him. I don't know if he's good enough at the moment now with that long break. He's had his issues. I think he had a 10 in this horse, or a suspensory or something. It was quite serious, but they've given him his time, and he's come back, and he's a very good horse. But I think you've got to go into the July with a lot of things in your favour, not anything against you.
Yeah, he'll certainly be running on, maybe best of all. But and Sean Veal will give him a smack, because that's why he's called the headmaster.
100%.
Got the green light. This is the horse I'm interested in your comments on, because to me, this is one of the better three. I know you said earlier that you don't think the 3-year-olds may be that good. This horse has won 3 Group 1s, in 12 starts.
He's a serious horse. I really have got a lot of time for this horse. A beautiful, beautiful. Give me the green light. Colt, he's trained by Joey. He's giving him 110%. You can guarantee that. He's got the horse very well. Owners are lovely people. Lyle Hurtson, fortunately, got off the horse. I don't think he got off the horse. It was just all about you got to look after your stable. And he's had to look after Mr. Finikirk, and Sean Terry have looked after Lyle Hurtson in a big way. And I think this is payback time. And Lyle, I think if Lyle had the choice, I think he'd like to have ridden this horse. I think he's a big runner, this horse. He's drawn 13. You don't want to do anything silly on this horse. You know he's got a turn of foot. He's won at Gravel. He's got everything. He's got 53 kilos on his back. 3, 4, 4.5, 5 lengths behind him, turning for home, 1 off the fence. You know this horse is going to turn it on. And I know you do like this horse. He's got 7 kilos, as I said, from the big horses. If there is a horse that's going to beat the big horses, this is the one who's going to do it.
Kev, to me, this is a horse that, has got the wrong rider on. And I really say it with sincerity, because I do like Muzi. I think he's a very good rider in that, but I don't think he's the right rider for this horse. This horse needs a rider like you who can hold him up. This is a hold-up horse.
You're going to hold him up. Especially if you've got faith in the horse, and in my riding days, you get the flight to list. You just know these horses. You turn for them, you don't even think. You just know they're going to turn it on, and they're going to turn it on big time. And this horse has got it. And no disrespect to Muzi as well. I mean, if Lyle was riding this horse, I think he'd be a little bit shorter. But he is a hold-up horse, and this horse. You got to ride the horse. You don't ride the race. You ride the horse.
Exactly.
Get him in. Yeah, he's torn 13, so he's starting on the back foot already. You don't even have to worry about the pace. You don't even worry about anything. You get him halfway back, 1 off the fence, with a nice horse in front of you that's going to pull you into the straight. And I'll tell you what, when the race is actually going to be run, I will be watching it about 5 or 6 horses at the same time. I was actually telling Craig Peters the other day, he said I should become a commentator. I said, no, but that's how you learn to do. You look at the second horse, and you can see, okay, he's got a nice spot, and you keep going back in the field, and you want to see. And if you see got the green light, 3 wide, no cover, you can just put a line through him straight away then, because that's him. He's done his race. But if you can see him 4 or 5 lengths behind him, 1 off the fence, with the horse on his outside and the horse in front of him covered, you just hold on. Just hold on and trust him. If he doesn't pick it up, he doesn't pick it up. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you trust him and he picks it up like he has in those 3 group loads, when he done with Bernard Fader Herb, at Gravel and in Joburg. If he does that, they're gonna be chasing him.
I can tell you that every race I've watched this horse, I've thought they've gone too early. The Derby, Callum Murray definitely went too early on the horse. He had a double handful. He went too early. I think Bernard went too early in the Daily News. To me, he's a horse.
I agree with you 100%. That's why I said you got to trust this horse. You got to know his turn of foot, and you know when you pull him, when you go with this horse, he's going to go. So if he's traveling, and I mean Gravel, everybody thinks he must go at the top of the straight. We go at the top of the straight. You can follow a horse like, if he's got a horse like, can you imagine if he's got a horse like Bulgarian or something in front of him, and he's picking
Rainbow
it up,
Bridge.
Behind him.
I would be looking for Rainbow Bridge.
Oh, if he's following Rainbow Bridge, I'll tell you what, I'd like to have my maximum on him.
Yeah,
he'll outrun Rainbow Bridge.
200 to run. You pull him out and say, okay, let's go past him, and he'll sail past him.
Exactly. So, and like you say, don't go at the 400-meter mark if you're traveling. Sit on him. Sit another 50 meters.
Exactly.
You can look left. You can look right. You can see exactly who's going forward. If one's quickening faster than you, then you have to start getting going. But I mean, if you virtually got them all stone cold, sit and wait, and then when you pull the trigger, you know what's going to happen, James. He can win by 3 lengths.
Well, that's how you rode Ipitombi. I'll never forget it, because going through the 300,
15, yeah.
really, there were a lot of horses in the race with a chance. Going through the 200, there was only one horse in the race with a chance.
Yeah, she was doing 2 to their 1.
Yeah. Okay.
That's if Muzi rides got the green light, I'll be only too happy for him and for Joey Soma to win the July. He deserves it, Joey.
Yeah. Bunker Hunt.
Yeah, this was a talking horse. I don't know, James.
He can't get a trip, this horse. I don't believe he can get the trip.
Yeah, and he's behind Twist of Fate. He's behind Altiad. He's behind One World. He's behind Hawan. Every time they've run him against the big ones, they always finish in front of him, just in front of him. This horse, if this horse was in the consolation race, I think he would have been a banker.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that he...
Justin can get 5 runners. Mark de Kock always taught me, if you can get 5 runners in the July, you run them, because you're keeping another one out.
Yeah, exactly. But
so I think he's keeping another one out. What he's keeping out, I don't think really, there's nothing really much down the bottom that he's keeping out. But I'm saying he's there. He's drawn 14, gone for Nico. You got to ride it for a bit of luck. But like you say, I don't think you'll see it. I don't think he's good enough. Personally, myself, he's got to really be. There's got to be something catastrophic to happen for this horse to win, I think.
Silvano's Pride. No, this is a classic case of where you got Padre Pio well drawn at 3. This is drawn 15. This filly only knows one way. She's got to be up there. So
big striding filly, beautiful filly. By Silvano, 52 kilos. Serena Mudley, a great rider. I watched him ride a race the other day. I actually went back and looked to see who it was. I didn't believe it was Serena. He's actually turned into such a nice rider. He's riding with a lot of confidence. He's a nice young lad, a big striding filly. He mustn't even look at the rail. He must just jump out and just go straight and slowly, gradually come over. And by the time you get to the mile, 2 or 3, maybe 2 lengths behind them, you just carry on straight, moving forward and hoping. If they're starting to pull back and easing the pace up, you just gradually go around them, and you could virtually be there for free and use this filly's action. She's got an action. I think she does 2 to, she does 1 to some of the horses, 2, some strides is unbelievable. But yeah, that's the way she's got to be ridden, and I'm sure Serena just got to think. He's not in the July now. He's just riding in a 2,200 meter race at Gravel, and just ride it with a little bit of confidence, and you'll see. Silvano's, but she's not bad at all. Don't worry, she's not bad. 52 kilos. The draw, like you say, the way she races, the draw's no factor in her. If she was drawn 1, she'd be a problem, because you'd have to jump out and chase her for the first 600 meters to keep her position. Now he doesn't have to chase her. He just bounce her out nice and sharply, and just slowly, gradually come over, and then get himself into a nice, handy position for free.
Yeah, I see her running, staying on. Whatever happens, I see her staying on. She's bred to stay the trip, and
100%.
She's all shown that she liked Gravel. She's very good at Gravel, so you've got to believe this filly has got some sort of chance.
No, absolutely. You got to throw in for your quartets. Throw in. The snakes horses. They're all eating the same food, and they're all getting the same work, and they're fit and they're ready. And like you say, if they weren't fit and ready a week ago, They're not ready at all now. So it's all systems go. The preps have been right. Justin's been very happy with all his horses' preps. Most of the guys have been happy with horses' preps. So it's all going to be a little bit of tactical and a little bit of luck. And let's see what happens.
When you're a trainer, you're happy with your prep. Doesn't matter what happened. If the horse got a nail in his foot, you're happy with your prep because you don't want to tell anyone there's something wrong. I hear some unbelievable stories after the races about horses that they told me before the race were absolutely flying and everything was right. So take everything with a pinch of salt, when it comes to that type of story. Camphoratus.
I got to take my, let me give you a little story in between. I got to take my hat off to David Payne one day. We were sitting in the clubhouse on the Wednesday after, no, it wasn't it was a Thursday. And the farrier had just come in to do Spanish pool and he went for a walk. He came back, he cut the Spanish pool so short he was footsore. And the horses walked past and David said, that horse of mine that's favourite in the July tomorrow is sore. Look at it, it's walking past, it's sore. I said, you've got to be joking. How can you see that? He said, look at him. And shame, the late Peter Strong had cut him, I don't know if it was Peter Strong, one of them, that cut his feet a little bit low and had to scratch the horse. So that's it. But anyway, Camphoratus, let's go. Robbie Hill, Gareth Wright, 52 kilos, lined up last year, wasn't beaten too far last year. I'm glad Camphoratus is drawn a little bit wide because she does come from the back and she's not the biggest filly. If she takes one or two bad knocks, could set her back a little bit. So Gareth, he knows how to just drop them in, drop her in, and just take her chances and go from there.
Yeah, she'll be running on as well as anything. She's shown she's quite competitive. Yeah. All right, we come to the big two. Bulgarian, drawn 17, had one run back. There's a lot of holes I see here, but the way this horse has won his races, is he as good as they think he is?
That's the $1 million question, James. I think that's what we're all waiting to see. One thing they have advertised, they've gone a year, the July, we're going to go for the July, and they've ducked and dodged and that, and they've got this horse in with 53 kilos. Very impressive last time. Anton Marcus's remarks, machine. Anton to say a machine, you must know he rides very good horses. He does rate the horse. He is the only really improving horse in the whole race when you think about it. The rest of them are in their place. They've got their handicaps. This is an improving horse. And how good is he? Let's have a look how good he is. He's done nothing wrong on his form. As you can see, he's won his last 4 starts, so he loves winning. He's definitely a horse with movie star looks. I looked at him at the gallops. He's a fantastic looking horse. He's fit. He's got a temperament of a horse that you would love to have. He really just walks around. Nothing phases him. Is he good enough? If he's good enough, with the 53 kilos, I think he's the horse they're going to have to beat if he's good enough. If he's not good enough, if there's like a little hole in his arm, a chink in his armor, the big horse is going to find him out. But the 53 kilos is the big plus in the favor of this horse.
Yeah, it's hard to dissect him because the thing is we don't know how good he is. He has won his races very easily. This is a different kettle of fish because when you get a horse that's won 2 Julys in a row, you know what it's all about. And you know how good this horse is. Do it again, got the champion on him, the best jockey riding in the July. And he's good enough to beat anything at any weights. What do you make of him?
Well, listen, I've spoken to 3 jockeys in the last 3 days. And all 3 jockeys said to me, do not leave Do It Again out. Listen to me, Anton Marcus does not get off this horse in the last month. He rides him every single day. And he said he's watched this horse turn the corner. And he has turned the corner big time. I think Anton and Justin have got this horse on the day. They've got him, I think, spot on, fitness-wise, in a good space. They've got him there, 59.5 kilos. Well, he's a big horse. He'll carry that on his coconut. As you say, drawn out there 18. Wouldn't even worry me drawn 80 because Anton's going to do the exact same thing. Just slowly come. He's not going to jump out and rush to the fence. In the first 100 meters, he's going to take his time coming across. Big striding horse, you'd like him. Listen, if this horse was in front, I'd be nervous. If Anton Marcus and Do It Again in front, going through the 1200 meters, dictating the pace, beware. You guys have got a race on your hands. But yeah, he's the master. Justin knows how to get him fit. The talk of Sommerfeld is he's turned the corner big time in the last 10 days. Don't leave him out of anything they say. And that came from 3 jocks and 3 top riders.
Fantastic field. I think it's a very, very good field, Kev. We've seen some poor fields. We've seen some horses that have won the July that really don't deserve to have won the July. But the winner out of this race will be a deserved winner.
Absolutely. When you think about it, James, about 6 weeks ago, when we were still in this COVID and there was no racing and this and that, or could have been 8, or could have been 2 months ago, and I said to a couple of guys, how are they going to dissect the July field? What are they going to work on? There's been no racing, there's been no prep runs, there's been no nothing. How are they going to choose what the top 18 horses in South Africa, or not the top 18, but whoever wants to have a go at the July? And I thought, this could be a terrible July. I don't know what's around anyway. Anyway, when the noms came out and when I see what was going forward, I think it's a fantastic July. I would love to have seen a warm square up. I think Mark, unfortunately, the protocols don't allow Mark to run the horse. He's already in quarantine. But Mark said he had him in a space that he wanted South African public to see this horse run one more time when I've got him 100%. And I would love to have seen him and Do It Again and Twist of Fate and Rainbow Bridge all line up again. Those are last year's virtually first, second, third, fourth, all line up again. And let's level the playing field. But it's not going to happen. It's a strong field. There's 1 or 2 horses I think that I'd be shocked if they won, but they deserve to be there, and let's take a chance. You know, we nearly saw Spongy Mungy win one year, and I think he was 88-1. He was the last horse in the betting, and he got beat the shortest of shorties by Pomodoro. So you never know.
With no shoes on.
So, no shoes on. He looked like, I looked at him in the parading, it looked like they'd taken him out of a mortuary and his hair was so long. He really did. You always look at horses and you want to see how their well-being is, their coat and all that. I'm not saying his well-being wasn't well. His well-being must have been very good. He got beat the shortest of shorties or win in the next stride. But he didn't look the picture. He didn't look like anything. He's a small little horse. He's got a short little neck and he nearly won. So it just shows you. You got a ticket, you got a chance, it's all about, as you say, the jocks you got to use your brains in a race like this. I know if it's your first ride, it all goes a little bit too quick and you can make mistakes, but I think the experienced jocks, I'll be very, very disappointed if experienced jocks, they've got the best rides this year, and I think they're gonna come to the fore.
Kev, while the guys ask any questions, I know they're all talking on the site here about Ashford Castle, Eric the Red, Gold Season. They're all going through the races here. They're all on the live chat. Instead of them listening to you, they're talking. I don't know if any of them have got any questions to ask you, but while they question anything that you can help them with, just give me, if you had a pick of a horse in this race to ride as a rider, which horse would you pick to ride, which would give you the best chance of winning?
They asked me that question a week ago. I said Rainbow Bridge, and then they asked me about 3 days ago. I said I'd like to ride. I think Socrates could be the right horse. Vardy, does he stay? He's my kind of rider. I'm looking at a horse I'd like to ride. Got the green light. Vardy. Horses that must be given a little bit of a chance. Socrates given a little bit of a chance. Those are the horses I'd like to ride. Socrates, Vardy, Rainbow Bridge. One of those horses. I wouldn't like to have to ride a horse that you have to be up there in the box seat, or you have to drop it out. So you want to be able to ride a horse where the trainer will say, now go out there and ride the race according to the pace, but don't forget about the horse. Ride the horse according to the pace. And I think that's going to be the most important thing. The tactical aspect of this race, I definitely think is going to be all about jockeyship. And we'll wait and see. This time tomorrow, what is the time now? 3:45. I think by this time tomorrow, we'll know the results. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to the course, so it's going to be fantastic. I'll be able to watch the race without getting aggravated by 50,000 irate punters, which is always the hardest thing in the world. It's going to be something different. I think I've had 25 or 30 July rides, and you see the crowds. It's just fantastic. But to see no crowds there tomorrow is going to be a mind blow.
It's going to be a different feeling. All right, now to prize 100 rand out of you is impossible, as I've found over the many years. But if I gave you 100 rand and said, what would you have a bet on tomorrow? Is there a horse that you'd have 100 rand on?
James, on the whole card or in
on the whole card. Yeah, whatever you like. One horse you'd like to have a bet on.
I would like to have a bet on in the race number 3. There's a horse called Sovereign Spirit. I've spoke to Trevor Brown already, flying, done very, very well, going like the clappers. Got to beat one horse, Trustful, who was in the July, and I've spoken to Sean Veal as well. He's very bullish about Trustful. He thought he was a little bit underdone last time, but the July was their aim. But I'll take it. This is the 2200, the consolation. Sovereign Spirit and Trustful in the 3rd race, and the Bass Robertson have got a horse in. Let me have a look here. I think it's the 8th race. Sorry, I've got one hand here.
Yeah, it must be Clouds Unfold.
Clouds Unfold. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Clouds Unfold doing very, very, very well. I wouldn't leave her out of anything as well. So those 2 horses from the Bass Robinson yard are absolutely flying. It's going to be interesting to see. As you know, we got the big 2-year-old races for the fillies and the colts. The fillies race, unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's too much to take on Terry's horse, number 1. Caraluma, I think, looks like it could be the banker, but there's nothing really that looks good enough to take her on. So that's why I think Caraluma sticks out a little bit. Delta Queen, she's a lovely filly. She won a 6-furlong start. To finish at Kenilworth is very, very, very difficult to do. Gone or ran 3rd the next start, behind Gavin van Zale's horse, and then 2.8 lengths. But apparently she's a little bit of a nutter, and she gets herself in a bit of a state when she gets behind the gates. So she's her own worst enemy. But if she can, with no crowds at the races tomorrow, maybe she thinks it's a gallop or something, and she gets there nice and quiet. I think it's a horse. If anything, it's going to give number 1 a run for money. It'll be number 7, Delta Queen. And then in the Colts race, which is the 6th race, which is the race after that too, there's some lovely horses there. Eric Ashford Castle, Eric the Red, Ecstatic Green, Fast Love. There's some nice up-and-coming horses to show how good are they, because normally whoever wins the fillies or the Colts 2-year-old race on July Day normally goes on to have a very, very illustrious 3-year-old career, and sometimes they can become champions. And I've seen champions come out of this race, so it's going to be interesting to see that. Only 12 runners, which is not right. We used to have 16 runners. So those days, the 1400 meters drawn, 16 runners can be a little bit tricky, but yeah.
All right, I've got 2 questions for you from our. We've had 24 people watching the show, and there'll be a lot more. Nicky Henderson from England. Kevin, great Irish name. If you owned a horse in the big race, who would you want to ride it for you? And then Daniel Henning says, is it an advantage with the Durban jocks, or do all jockeys have the same chance? So you can answer both together.
Yeah, okay. If I owned a horse, which jockey would I like to have on? Well, there's always one jockey. Every trainer in South Africa will have on is Anton. Anton is an absolute true professional. I love Anton on the horses. He works well with you as a trainer. Sometimes he actually wants to train the horse as well, but it's not the end of the world.
No, he's a frustrated trainer, Anton.
Yeah, he's a frustrated. He's a frustrated trainer. Yeah, absolutely. But let's see what happens. I would love to have Anton on my horses. Then again, when you look at the other guys, well, there's Gavin Larena there's Keegan de Mello, there's Lyle Hewitson, there's top riders. Does the Durban jocks have an advantage at the Greyville? No. Most of these guys have been around Greyville for many years. They know the track. They know exactly how it goes. I don't think the Durban jocks have an advantage at all. But if you actually look at it, most of the Durban jocks are riding horses are from Cape Town and from Joburg. So that just shows you. I don't think there's definitely not a favour of the Durban, Joburg, Cape Town jocks. For me, the top guys are in the July. They're going to line up. But Anton Marcus, I'd love to have him on my horse. If I had Rainbow Bridge and Anton was riding it, I'd also be very happy. But I mean, I'd be happy with Gavin Larena as well. So I'd be happy with Lyle Hewitson. I'd be happy with quite a few of them. But the ultimate professional, and we all know Anton, he's the boy.
Okay, well, David Butler says, have you any bankers? Well, we know that we don't have any bankers because but the closest would be Candace's horse.
You can take a chance and banker the filly in the 5th race, number 1.
Caraluma, well, everyone's going to do that.
You can take a chance and bank that. If you want to maybe just put 2 in the race, put 7 in because it's a very shallow race. I think Caraluma does look like it's got a big, bright future, and they found the right field over here. So they're going to get black top, and I think it's going to go on and be a very, very good field.
Well, yeah, Matty says, is Kev still stealing the cash on the golf course? And listen, I can answer that. It's impossible to get a rand out of you. Impossible.
Yeah, impossible. I can't get the money on the golf course, and I can't get the money at the races. But the boys, we won the allowance yesterday. We got 2,000 rand. We're taking the PA for 2,000 rand. So I've been hard at work and trying to get all the information I possibly can. I'm just worried about some of the numbers I've got here for the 2,000 PA. I might not get my money back.
Listen, bank of the horse in the first leg. We know that will win, and that will bank it.
Which one?
You banker. You know the first leg. Candace's horse.
Yeah.
Banker that in the first leg. Paresh says that Raveen sitting nearby says hello to you. He's an old friend of yours, Raveen.
Raveen, my old friend Raveen, he sells cars.
He must have sold you one in your whole life.
He works for Dean Heyman. I'm not going to say what the business's name because we can't advertise, but he works for...
We can do whatever we like. This is my show, Kev. You know what? It's been fantastic chatting to you. I look forward to seeing you at the races tomorrow. I will be there as well. And
fantastic.
Have a wonderful, wonderful time. And thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate the input that you've given the guys.
Thank you very much, James. Yeah, just for the guys out there, apparently they're going to send me down to the start for the main race. I'll be able to maybe give you guys a little bit of insight on the draws and the horses getting to the start. And then I'll take a little jog back after the horses jump out the pens. And I'll have to be watching the race on my phone. And I'm hopefully going to get the jockey at the pull-up and chat to him before he walks back to an empty stand to a trainer and a jubilant owner. Because as you know, the owners of the July are allowed to go to the course, but only one owner is allowed to lead in the winner. So it's going to be interesting to see. So it's going to be fantastic, James. Thanks very much. Lovely talking to you. It's a lovely day's racing tomorrow. We're all looking forward to it. And well done to everybody to get this day up and running, because 2 months ago I thought we were in dire straits.
Thanks, Kev. All the best. Cheers, man.
Thanks very much, Goody. Cheers.
Kevin Shea, what a gentleman. And, you know, it's amazing to have a guy like this who's so accommodating, and they don't use him enough. He really is a fantastic presenter. He's a great thinker. He knows the game better than anyone who's presenting at the moment. And I would have him as one of my main form studiers, presenters, any day of the week. He's a really, really good guy and so knowledgeable. And I really appreciate him giving us our time to come on this show. It's been a hell of a good long show. Thank you so much to all of you for joining me. It's, as I say, big day tomorrow. And I've done the preview already for the Vodacom Durban July, where I go through all the runners. So you'll be able to listen to that. Sovereign Spirit, I did make probably my best on the day. I've been waiting for this horse and I really like it. As for a double, well, I think you should pick your own as far as the second leg's concerned, but that's the one that I really like. And I hope that you enjoy what I've got to say about the card tomorrow, because I have studied it. I've been studying it since the fields have been out. And I think I've come up with a pretty good idea of where you should be going. Until next time, I'll be doing a Turf and Team preview in the morning, and that will be up at about 10 o'clock. So you'll be able to listen to the Turf and Team races, which certainly look like there's some opportunities there as well. From me, James Goodman, the Whole Winning Ways show team, have a good one, and we'll chat to you as soon as we can.